Shrek 2, Terminator 2, Toy Story 2, The Dark Knight, Aliens. There's something truly magical about the number 2, and a studio starting off with an already excellent film, then somehow coming out with an even better sequel. And of course, we've seen this in gaming too. Portal 2, Red Dead 2, Uncharted 2, just to name a few. Then we have Rare, who would make an absolute classic game that is Donkey Kong Country, only to turn around and say, do it again. Then they would repeat the same magic again with Banjo-Kazooie. So I'd like to take this time to announce Super Joe Bros 2, the sequel to Super Joe Bros. I've only just started playing the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy. I shared my experience of the first game with this video, and my order of DK games played is very unusual and out of the ordinary. Better late than never, right? But I think my unusual perspective is rather interesting. Being a huge lover of DK64 and experiencing the 3D world of the Nintendo 64 before the 2D mechanics of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System has given me a completely different outlook of these Kongs. So now it's time to discuss Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. And did you catch that? Not Diddy Kong's Quest, Diddy's Conquest! We got a pun in the title! That's how you know we got a good one. So for this video, I want to show my appreciation for the sequel's characters, challenges, world designs, and music. I love that this game takes place after the events of the first Country game. Obviously, that's what makes a sequel, but that's the kind of thing we didn't see a lot of gaming at that time. The stakes are even higher with Donkey Kong getting kidnapped. The setup to this game is really cool, and I appreciate how the new playable lead is Diddy Kong, and the new addition to the family, Dixie Kong. This isn't a Donkey Kong game, it's a Diddy Kong game. Imagine if Mario was suddenly kidnapped and we had to play as Luigi. Oh. But it's interesting that for the sequel, we the player already know who the final boss fight is. We already know who will be waiting for us at the end of the game, unlike the first Country game. And DK is our boy! We gotta go save him! It's no longer about those bananas. I love the inclusion of Dixie Kong so much. In the first game, I was playing as Diddy the most, so I find it really funny how I mained as Dixie for the sequel, essentially the sidekick character of the game. But this time around, it feels all the more valid. Dixie plays differently from Diddy. That helicopter ponytail move is a necessity, especially given that Diddy doesn't travel with his jetpack just yet. But the two characters are well balanced, and the controls are even smoother, both on their own and together. The new Team Throw ability is such a fun new addition and a great way to solve different puzzles and challenges. I'll go over the animal buddies in a minute when discussing some of the world designs. The new additions are really solid and made for a great way to change up the mechanics to a level. But those Kremling! We gotta talk about the enemies in this game. It would have been easy to reuse the same batch of baddies from the first game, but since this game is shifting its focus away from Donkey Kong Isle and now to Crocodile Isle, it makes so much sense to have even more tougher enemies. It's almost like K. Rool kept the really tough ones to protect their territory. They come in all shapes and sizes, cut less in their insane range and hitboxes. I avoid them at all costs. Kaboing and their ridiculous jumping. I swear, these crooks must have insane sniping abilities at times. And while these alone are a great batch of unusual enemies, it goes even further with undead enemies such as cloaks and whoa, look at this Kremling! I love the Resident Demon in DK64, but the design for Cackle goes so hard. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. And of course, I love the variety of non-Kremling enemies that fit into the theme of the levels. Plenty of bug kind of enemies, pain in the butt piranhas, whatever this thing is, Cat O9 tails. And of course, the Neckies. With characters still in discussion, I want to talk about those challenging boss fights. The first game had a lot of repeater fights, just larger versions of common enemies that go down with simple jumps. But in the sequel, these boss fights are some of the most unique enemies I've seen in a while. There's a great batch of tougher common enemies like the Crow or Ghost Crow, to brand new and completely distinct bosses like Cleaver and Cudgel. Big or small, none of them felt simple to defeat, especially King Zing. Holy smokes, this one made me lose my sanity for a minute there. And then, of course, there's the ultimate boss fight, Captain K. Rool. This boss fight makes the first fight seem like a walk in the park. Look, I was mentally prepared for the fake out to happen. I knew it would only get more and more difficult. But my guy, K-Rool, there's no holding back in this fight. Phase 2 really took me a while to lock in and figure out how to maneuver around those bouncing cannons. But Phase 3? That's where I gave up hope. You know what, K-Rool? You can keep DK. Those different colored gas clouds are insanely tough, each messing with the player in different ways. I respect Rare for making such an unbelievably tough boss, but I lost all my brain cells trying to reach that sweet victory.
Oh my gosh, stop it. What the? What? 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 There's no way. There's no way.
At the moment of writing this script, I've yet to defeat Captain K-Rool legitimately without rewinding or using save states. But one day, it will happen.
July 16th, 2025. Finally did it. I finally did it. Let's go.
And of course, that second K-Rool fight was a pleasant surprise. Dude really fought off sharks just to get another attempt to take out the Kongs. Now that's true hatred. Bowser, jot this down. The Lost World segment really humbled me, as I'm sure it humbled all of you. I love how each level had a fun theme and challenge to it. Well, except maybe animal antics. That's kind of the Dark Souls for the Kongs, if you will. I couldn't imagine completing this on original hardware. It's just too brutal. But I guess I can appreciate another unique level focused entirely on those animal buddies. The animal buddy system feels even smoother in this game, and the new characters are a great addition. And this kind of all ties in with characters, challenges, and world designs. For instance, it's pretty amazing that some levels are designed strictly for a specific animal buddy. Instead of getting knocked off and continuing a level as the Kongs, the player fully controls the animal buddy. It's a really fun way to mix things up, and it doesn't at all disrupt the gameplay. Toxic Tower is a great example to showcase what the animal buddies are capable of. While it kicked my butt, I can't deny that I found the transition from Rattly to Squawks to Squitter to be a fun challenge for the game. And these animal buddies have all new charge moves. It took me a second to adjust to this feature because of how different it is for the buddies, but it's an awesome new feature. Either to reach faraway areas, hard to collect items, taking out a line of enemies, or to open up bonus rooms. They have more purpose in this game and feel more a part of this conquest. The animal buddies aren't the only ones presenting dynamic levels. Heck, the game as a whole opens up a whole new world. The first game had a lot of repeated jungles, caves, and mines, and there's nothing wrong with that. We were exploring Donkey Kong Island after all. But for the sequel, the game took us to all kinds of different levels. Ships, lava, amusement parks, castles, swamps, hives, brambles. The variety is massive and all the more memorable. And it goes to show how far Diddy and Dixie have to explore to save DK. While this game brought us killer themes to each level, I have to give a shout out to the unexpected vertical levels. I imagine this was a huge deal back in the day. Even today, I'm having a blast with it. We're so used to seeing these kind of games being horizontal levels, so it's a breath of fresh air anytime the developers mix things up. It creates all kinds of new challenges. Windy Well is a really great example for the vertical level. The gust of wind slowly bringing the player up, with potential zingers obscuring their path, or cannons and crooks targeting the player, is an excellent twist. I don't think a horizontal design would be as effective here. It's the constant unknown above you that keeps you on the edge. Or even Lava Lagoon or Clapper's Cavern, two levels using a unique theme with the animal buddy Clapper. Similar to the Kremkrok enemies in the first game, the players have a short amount of time to explore the water before it switches back to lava. Players will need to move quickly to reactivate Clapper, or to even find those hidden collectibles in bonus rooms. That's another aspect to this game I really enjoyed seeing. Collectibles seem to be well hidden and more organic to the level, like the DK coin tucked away in this wooden tower in Target Terror, or even the DK coin hidden just underneath the ending in Slime Climb. It's really cool that some of the animal buddies' charged up moves can access bonus rooms that are naturally built into the level. This feels like a step up from the last game, just tucking a bonus room in a faraway location. Instead, they're hiding in plain sight, or having a single banana to hint at the player that maybe, just maybe, that wall isn't really a wall after all. Going for the full 102% kind of feels even more meaningful and fulfilling overall. And I really like that we're able to see a completed world from the main hub selection screen, instead of checking each individual level. All in all, these are some of the most well-created levels in a Donkey Kong game. Ah, heck, let's give it way more credit than that. It's some of the most well-created levels in gaming. Awesome world themes, really cool enemies, with challenges that vary in skill, difficulty, and fun. Even though some of the levels really made me rage, to the point of almost making my drywall sweat.
Oh, what? 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 What happened?
It's easy to see that these levels are considered classics. And speaking of classics, we gotta talk about that music. When I made this review video for the first Donkey Kong Country, I didn't spend the time discussing the score. And boy, some of you in the comments really wanted me to talk about it. And for obvious reasons too. The soundtrack in these games are filled with bangers, no skips. Originally, I had planned to dedicate a section of that last video to the music, but opted out because I felt the video was already going on a tad long. But more so because it felt too obvious of a topic to touch on. The music in the country games are really good. Like, no duh. I'm also not a Grant Kirkhope versus David Wise kind of guy. I respect the heck out of both composers. To me, it's never been about one over the other. We're allowed to love both. And they've blessed our ears with some of the most beautiful, mesmerizing, thematic, entertaining music for decades now. I couldn't possibly choose. But that's besides the point. We're talking about Diddy's quest, his conquest. And I feel like the music somehow gets even better in the sequel, if such a thing is even possible. I mean, David Wise already reached peak music in Country 1. The guy raised the bar even higher. Seriously, how did he fit such incredible, chilling music of such quality onto this old cartridge? A video game score really impresses me when there's variety. It creates an identity for the level the music is representing. And sound effects being a part of the score is an extra juicy way to make a score stick out. Clomp's Romp has such a freaky start. The sound effects are heavy with waves crashing and the ship rocking, all before those drums build up. And it gets even more intense during Lockjaw's Saga, with those gushing waves splashing during the epic drums and hearty brass. Then we do a 180 with Bayou Boogie, a more relaxing tune with crickets chirping to fill the swamp. Meanwhile, Flight of the Zinger isn't sound effect focused, but the tune sounds busy like bees. It's very anxiety inducing. It's basically impossible to pick a favorite song out of the bunch because, let's be honest, these are all S-tier material. But a handful of tracks that especially stuck out to me are Hothead Bop, Mining Melancholy, Sneaky Chanty, Disco Train, Forest Interlude, Crocodile Cacophony, and saving the best for last, Sticker Brush Symphony. Words can't describe this one. It's one of those songs that catches you off guard. Makes you want to set down the controller and vibe to it. Forget all your problems and think about Monk. We didn't know we were making memories. We were just having fun. I have something pretty shocking to share about this song. So, are we cool? Did you pass the vibe check? Hit this button to pass the vibe check. So, like I said, this is my first time playing the trilogy, which means I most likely heard Sticker Brush Symphony for the very first time while playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Be cool, alright? Be cool. I know this makes me sound much younger than I actually am, and I know the Smash Bros. Version is way different from the original, but it sunk its hooks in me when I first heard it. And eventually, I'd make my way to the internet and bask in the amazing original version as well. I fell in love with this song so hard while being completely unaware of the amazing game that's tied to this tune. But I formed such a hard appreciation for it that I made this cover of the Smash Bros. Version. This file that you're listening to right now is extremely old. It goes all the way back to 2014. So who knows? Maybe it's time I do a remix. We could easily spend hours and hours talking about every little fantastic detail about Donkey Kong Country 2. You've all been playing it for nearly 30 years now. I'm insanely late to the party, but you know what? Better late than never. It's become crystal clear to me why this game is so popular to gamers. It brought so much to the table and paved the way to what was possible for future games. And it still plays really well today. It's a timeless classic and potentially unbeatable in comparison to the rest of the country games. Well, I'm not going to make that call. At least, I'm not quite qualified yet. I still have Donkey Kong Country 3 to play, and I'm well aware that it has mixed reviews. But I'll be playing it, and I hope to see you there for my live streams. I have big expectations. A big shout out to the mods and members of this channel for making these live streams so fun. And of course, all of you watching. The journey only continues from here. So strap yourselves in for a wild ride.